already the athletes for the bronze medal match in the compound mixed team competition. What a lineup we've got.
On target number 1, representing the Netherlands, Sana Della. Mr. Perfect, Mike Schlosser. On target number 2, representing Denmark, Tanya Gellenty. Matthias Fullerton. Elijah for the matchup is Christina Anna Reckmeyer.
Okay, Chef, we like to be neutral in the commentary box here, but we always give you a little bit of leeway when your teammates are out there. Mike Schlosser and Sana Delat, not a bad pairing.
Not a bad pairing indeed. They did really well in the World Championships as well, but they are shooting against a very, very strong Danish mixed team.
Yeah, they did all right this week, didn't they? Particularly their first match against Brazil.
Yeah, they shot a pretty decent score, I would say. 160 with 9 X's for a new world record.
Yeah, and it's going to be Denmark who shoot first. Tanya Gellentin on the line, paired up with Matthias Fullerton.
Bit of a shaky first shot, I think, from what we are used to seeing from Tanya, but nothing crazy.
Fullerton's got that look in his eye. Just seems to be absolutely focused on the job in hand.
Interestingly, when Mike shot that, the coach said neat, even though that was far from neat, I think, but yeah, maybe he meant the result.
So the first arrow nerves out of the way.
Another 10-liner there from Tanya. And, they count just as well as an X-ring does, so might as well shoot them on the line then. So that was one of those classic shots where Mike already called it a 10 before it hit the target. It did hit quite, well, I want to say far to the right, but that's for like this standard. He hit like a 10.4 on the right. So he was very certain that was going to go in. It hit on the right, so his coach gave him the feedback, yes, it's in, but it is on the right, so adjust your sight. And that's the level of shooting that we're currently seeing on the finals venue.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a lot over the past couple of years, but I mean, certainly last night when we were getting ready for today's session, we were talking about the shooting is of such high quality now that you, as commentators, we kind of have to show some disappointment when it's a 9, which is still a great shot.
Yeah, for the well, newer viewers among us, they're shooting from a distance of 50 meters away from the target, and the 10 ring is only 8 centimeters in diameter. So imagine trying to hit a fairly small apple on a distance of 50 meters and then being disappointed if you don't hit it. That's kind of the level of shooting that we've grown used to now.
And it's very rare to see a perfect score. I mean, we talked about Galantine and Fullerton hitting that world record earlier in the week, but you don't often see 160s.
No, you don't see them, well, barely ever. We've seen a couple of them on the elimination venue. I don't think we've ever seen a perfect score on the finals venue. But to shoot that in an elimination match is, well, incredible shooting, and it shows what kind of form the Danish team is in.
Leading the match, as they do with a perfect 40, it's going to be Mike Schlusser and Sanna the Lat to shoot first in the second end.
Nice and relaxed shot there by Sanna. You can see that there is a little bit of pressure on the shoulders of these archers. They know who they're up against, but the same could be said for the team of Denmark.
Yep, fin tid derude. Stærk skud lige på. Yep, X, stærkt. Perfekt. Stadig fin tid derude, så I bruger den bare.
So the Netherlands have a pretty hefty task here ahead of them, because they need to put pressure on a team that seemingly doesn't really feel pressure. Then again, if they just keep shooting 10s, there is a pretty high likelihood that at one point in the match Denmark will make a mistake. So you never know, but just continuously shooting 10s is the best way to go forward. And that seems trivial. That seems like just the essence of archery put into one sentence, and it is. But in a match like this, when you have the alternate shooting, it has a very different dynamic to just shooting on an elimination field where you're shooting in your own 80 seconds. You are noticing here what the other team is doing, because it's very difficult to get around.
Three seconds left to go, even tighter than the last end for them, but still staying perfect.
Yeah, I think Tanya almost choked. 7 seconds left into the end, but yeah, you can see there that Tanya is probably shooting with a clarifier in her peep sight, because she has put something over her peep sight to block it from getting rained on, and that's just to prevent droplets from getting into the peep sight and preventing her from seeing anything.
And we also earlier on saw Mike Schlusser there on the right hand side. To the casual observer, perhaps it looked like he was just leaning on his bow as a little bit of a rest, but actually he was covering the sight, the scope, wasn't he?
Yeah, a couple of small drops of rain won't matter too much in your side picture, but if it's completely covered in droplets, it is going to skew your vision. So you want to prevent that from happening as much as possible, and that's also why a lot of scopes these days, they have like extensions on it, like a hood almost, which prevents it from raining directly onto the glass, whereas before you would see a lot more scopes that were a bit shallower and a bit well, less extensive.
So perfect so far, the Danish pair. Perfect end for Schlosser and De Laat, but they still trail by a point and begin the second half of this bronze medal match.
Some Dutch audience members are testing their vocal cords today.
That rain's coming down a bit heavier now, isn't it?
Well, Denmark and the Netherlands are both countries in which it's inevitable that you grow up shooting competitions in the rain. So I'm guessing that both of these teams know how to handle shooting in the rain quite well. And that is that 9 that I was talking about earlier. That was, yeah, there was a high likelihood that Denmark was going to make a mistake sooner or later, and this is the mistake. And the Netherlands, if they want to have a shot at this medal, they need to capitalize and they need to put the pressure on and continue to put the pressure on.
Just what Mike Schlosser has done. Now you start to feel the tension rise here. Every arrow so important.
Sonne was saying the shot was a bit quick, but it was good.
Yep, X. Super. 25 sekunder. Fin tid derude. Skiven til venstre.
Two 9s there from Mattias Fullerton, and just on that we have a 2-point swing going in favour of the Dutch team. And of course things now switch around because the Danes will shoot first in the final end, and it's them that have the opportunity to apply the pressure.
Yeah, and we've seen historically speaking that the Dutch mixed team can be pretty sensitive to that pressure. We have seen some 9s in the last arrows, so it's going to be an interesting last end to watch, I think.
Yeah, Mikey Schlosser's known as Mr. Perfect on the circuit, but he does have a habit every now and again of, well, certainly in the individual competitions, shooting 10s all the way through to the final arrow.
Yeah, and I would argue he has been getting better throughout the last couple of years again. He had a bit of a dip, but I feel like every competition he shoots, he is taking that experience and taking that information and learning from it. So yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a situation in which that will become very valuable.
And let's be clear about it. You know, it's a difficult thing to say because you sound like you're being awfully critical, but Michael Schlosser was suffering from target panic, wasn't he, in that couple of years ago?
Yeah, and well, he has been quite open about it himself. And I mean, it's target panic, but it's also just the external pressure of everybody expecting him to be perfect. And yeah, like I said, I think throughout the last couple of years we have seen him obviously had ups and downs, but I think he's on the up again. I feel like he is taking all of the final venue experiences that he is getting throughout the season, and he's taking the information, taking the experience, and building on top of that.
And just to add to the pressure, I said the rain was coming down a little heavier earlier on. It's coming down properly now, and this, even though these two teams are used to wet conditions, this is pretty heavy rain for them.
Yeah, and the rain doesn't only well annoy the archers. Obviously, it's nicer to shoot in sunny weather than in rain, but it's also making their equipment wet, and most notably their string and cables on the bow, because they have a lot of string on their bow. If that gets wet, that does affect how much speed gets into the arrow. So if their string and cables get soaked from the rain, their arrows will likely hit a bit lower. But typically that does take some time to happen, and often they'll have string wax or something to prevent the string from getting too wet and soaking up all the water. Yeah, you can see Mike rub his hand on the shirt as well, because they're shooting with release aids that are typically made out of brass or aluminum, and that does get slippery in the rain. So not everybody has tape around their release, for instance, and if your release slips in your hand, that's obviously going to affect your shot.
And of course you meant aluminium.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I grew up learning American English.
So that door that was opened by the Netherlands with a 9 hasn't been capitalised on yet. So this is a critical area for Fullerton. Gets it into the 10 to set a 157 out of the possible 160. And now the chance is there for the Dutch pairing. A couple of 10s required for the bronze medal. So now real pressure here on Sanne de Laat. She needs a 10 to force the shoot off. Anything less, Denmark are on the podium.
That was a really good bit of communication there, because Mike was sure that that arrow was going to hit the 10. When he heard it was on the 9, or in the 9 on the right, he immediately said to Sanne, now you have to aim on the left, because he was so certain that was going to hit the middle. And I think that kind of confidence and that kind of communication is key in a team, but also in a mixed team event.
And with very little time as well. That's the other key part about this communication between the two teams, especially going into that last area where you may have less than 20 seconds. You've got to get that info across pretty much straight away.
Yeah, and for some archers that actually helps them, because we've done some testing with the coaches when I was still shooting, and some archers do better when they have limited time, because they don't give themselves the chance to make a slow shot, or they don't give themselves the chance to overthink the shot. So I don't know if that's the case for Sanne, but she managed to do really well in this last arrow, and well, we're going to see a lovely shoot-off here.
Yeah, gotta love a shoot-off. The target faces, once the arrows have been retrieved, will be refreshed, and out come the volunteers to put the new target faces up, and that's simply so that if we do require a measure, there are no other holes in the target. Who's going to handle this pressure better? And let's not forget that both the teams have been through shoot-offs coming through to this bronze medal match. Netherlands beat India with a measured 20-20 in their shoot-off, but Denmark lost out in a shoot-off in the semi-finals to Puerto Rico with an 18 and 19.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting, because we will see one arrow from each archer from each team. So they all just get one shot to get the medal for their country.
Sort of half end, if you like.
Yeah, so each archer will shoot one arrow. The highest score wins, and if the score is tied, the closest arrow to center will decide which team gets the bronze medal.
So the target faces have been refreshed. We go to the shoot-off for the bronze medal here in the compound mixed team competition. Denmark versus the Netherlands, and it's Denmark to shoot first with Tanja Galantine.
Yes, let's go, Tanja. Stærk skud lige på.
So not really putting a lot of pressure on the Dutch team, but then again, there's a reason she shoots an 8, so Mike might be thinking, do I need to adjust to this? I think that if Sanne manages to shoot this one in the gold,
Should be enough. They think it's enough. So a 9 from Schlosser, which we don't have on the scoreboard just yet, but he shot a 9 with the first arrow. And, well, the scream told us it was in the gold. We can't tell you whether it was a 9 or a 10, but a 9 was enough. And there you go, a pair of 9s for the Dutch team. And they take this bronze medal in a fantastic shoot-off. Great stuff for them. They're on the podium, but a world record for the Danish pairing who finished 4th here in Paris. So confirmation, the Netherlands are the winners of the compound mixed team bronze medal match. Mike Schlosser and Sanne de Laat will be on the podium a little bit later on here in Paris.